Literally right around the corner. We have a little episode for you guys to discuss the possibility about next year's postseason. Why are we already thinking about next year's postseason when this year's is literally just about to start? It'll make sense to go along. As you all know, expansion is looming. It is rife, and I mean, I'm still confident that we will see new teams in the 2026-27 season, but they really are. They really are pushing it up. Yeah. I think at the time of recording this, with just 4 hours to go for this year's playoff starts, the mood is that one market is definitely signed, and the others are going to follow. But yeah, we are really pushing it. Yeah, they are. Yeah, we really are pushing it with, because once the playoffs end, that's it. The draft will be heard and free agency before we know it. Yeah, really are. Yeah. So, with the possibility of expansion, you do have to then question, what do you then do with your season structure, particularly when it comes to the playoffs? Because, obviously, if you get to 12 teams, you can't stick with the current format as it is. So, if you're new to the PWHL, you've just joined us this season, the World Cup playoffs sees the top 4 teams compete for the World Cup in 2 rounds of best of 5. The semi-finals, which will be starting this week, and then obviously the World Cup final itself. Now, with the possibility of adding to 12 teams adding 4 more teams to take it to a 12-team league, that's not going to be doable in the long term. So, the question is, how do you go about expanding the World Cup playoffs? And I think there's 2 scenarios which I want to run through. I've got a preference which one I would go with, but there are 2 scenarios you could see possibly happen in this league. The first of those is very straightforward. The first of those is you say the top 8 teams qualify for the World Cup playoffs, and the bottom 4, you will fight it out for the goal plan once you're mathematically limited. That's what I would do. I would still let the number 1 team, I would still let the league champion choose who their first round opponent is, but you would have more opportunity and more choice compared to right now, because right now it's just between the 3rd and 4th place team, whereas I'm suggesting you go from 5th place to 8th place. Right, so you would create more protection. Yeah, if we do it top 8, I would say the top 4 you are guaranteed to have an advantage, and teams in 2, 3, and 4 you can't be chosen. That's what I would do. Yeah. So it would be teams 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. I'm not quoting stats. Not quoting stats. I saw what you did there. I know. No, I'm not quoting stats. But the teams that finish in 5, 6, 7, 8 in the league, you are then vulnerable. Yeah. It would give the league champion more choice. Particularly if, say, the higher teams, like, say, 3rd or 4th are really competitive, like this year's are. Yeah. You don't want to place there. You can then go lower down and think, right, I might have a better chance against that one than. Yeah, that's overall. So that's what I would do. How would we feel about that? I think that would be the best way forward, because obviously top 8, it's easily doable in a league of 12. And and it would mean we could have an extra round. Yeah, because with it being top 8, you would create a 3rd round. So basically, you would have World Cup quarterfinals, World Cup semi-finals, World Cup finals, and all best of 5. I would keep it best of 5. I think best of 5's fine. I think best of 5 works. I mean, I've familiar with it in the AHL with their World Cup playoffs. Best of 5 works fine, especially when we have a tight league structure in terms of which months we play in. So I think that works fine. So I'm happy to keep it best of 5. But what I'd say with doing the top 8 is you create a 3rd round, so you have quarterfinals now thrown in, along with the semi-finals and the finals. That's what I would do. Yeah. So I'd say top 8, league champion gets to choose their opponents still, but they get to choose between the teams that finish in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place. So that guarantees the teams in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th you are protected, and you would get home ice advantage. And I imagine you would would be reseeded. Yeah, so depending on who the league champions choose, you then reseed it. So say, for example, if the league champion chooses to take the 7th place team, then the 2nd place team would have to then play the 8th seed. Yeah. So it's like a standard, what you see a lot in European leagues, where you do first beat 8, second beat 7, and so forth. Yeah. Unless the league champion chooses to take someone from the 5th, 6th, or 7th, then you have to then So that's it. And you'd have to do it as a bracket. So the winner of this quarterfinal plays the winner of that quarterfinal in the next quarters and so forth. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. It's the first option. The other option, and I don't like the idea of this second option, but I could for now see the league do this. Yeah. Because 12, you think that's still probably not big enough field to go for the full blown top 8. Yeah. But the other scenario, I'm going to talk about it. I don't like the idea of it. The other scenario floating around is you do the top 6. Oh yeah. You do but how would that work? So the other scenario is you would do the top 6, but the teams that finish 1st and 2nd would get buys into the semi-finals. You would then, with teams 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, you would have them playing a best of 3 play-in. Oh no. Play-in, and those 2 winners would then go to the semi-finals. No. No, I don't like the play-in. No. I'm also not a fan of play-in. I mean, I know the AHL has done this for the last 4 years now, where it's so odd, because I always call it a preliminary round, but it's not a preliminary round, it's basically the first round, but then the next round is division semi-finals. It gets confusing. But the AHL does it with the college first. They have a first round play-in, preliminary, whatever you want to call it, and set amount of teams competing in that preliminary. Others get buys. But it's so, I just don't like it, because obviously, you know, the best of 3, the lowest CT doesn't get to play in the on their home ice. Like me this year, obviously my Barracuda were the lowest seed in our match against Henderson in the first round, and because it's the best of 3, we didn't get to host a game in that series. Even though Henderson's not too far, I would say. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of doing that. No, but obviously, yeah, their career system works, because you get to have more teams in. It gives more opportunities, you know, to see more teams who wouldn't normally get in the college players get in the college players. But yeah. And also, buys don't really work, do they? Because as you've seen, George, in other sports, a team that gets a buy can then lose their round. Yeah, I've seen it played. Yeah. So that's my issue with the buy. Like, yeah, you get that buy, you get some extra weeks, few days rest, but then when it comes to your person, you then get taken out? Yeah. Like that, no. But I think I do agree with you. I could see the league do it, because, you know, it would then still be half the league gets to go to playoffs, half doesn't. But nah, I don't like it. No, I don't. Nah, I don't like that either. Nah, no. But I could see the league do it. I could see the league do it. Yeah, I don't like the idea of that, but it would not surprise me if they lean more towards that. And then when you get to 16 teams, which could be easier said than done, that we would have good. Yeah, but that's probably not going to happen until the mid 2030s. Have we really got to wait a full you know what, 5 or 6 years before they do that? Nah. I just don't. Nah, I don't like the idea of this second option at all. I mean, you may as well just do like quarterfinals and be done with it. Yeah, bring a 3rd round in. No, easy, best of 5 still, no problem. No. Yeah. You would have to do the draft end of June, but that's not really that big of a deal. Yeah. I don't think we would mind PHL games coming into June. We all would love that. Especially if we're still going to be stuck with this regular season schedule. Come on, 30 games not enough. It's not enough. It definitely will not be enough if we add 4 more teams next year. It definitely will not. Do you remember the start of the season when the playoff format was announced to stay the same, and everyone made a bit of a fuss about it. Yeah. It's like, I don't get why that's the case. I mean, we only added this year 2 new teams, Seattle and Vancouver. So it kind of made sense to just keep the current format as it is, because at that point, we weren't really focusing on expansion. We knew the league signalled the alarm again, but we didn't just put it straight back on our minds because we had a lot to focus on that first half. Yeah. So, well, I think since we've got back from our trip, it's been put to the forefront of our minds because, you know, we technically should really be in the realms. Well, because this time last year we got Seattle and Vancouver announced. Yeah. So if they don't announce any expansion news by the end of this week, you've got to start thinking, right, is it likely going to be this next season, or is it going to be pushed to the season after? Yeah. I just didn't get why everyone was so shocked that the playoff format was staying the same this year. It just makes the most sense. Yeah. 4 teams go in, 4 teams go out. Yeah. It's simple. Yeah. But yeah, I remember as well. There's a lot of like it was always like surprise. A lot of the people's tones, that the playoff format was staying the same. When, as Laser said, you know it makes sense. You know it makes sense to keep the current format as it is. Why are we messing about with something that is a well-oiled machine? But we don't need to. But we don't need to. In an 18 league, you don't really need to mess about with the playoff format. But for a 12-team league, it's kind of expected. And for a 16-team league, which is where we'll probably be by the time we get to the 2030s, you kind of do need to mess about the format. Do you think we'll be 16 teams? I definitely think by the time I'm 40, we will probably have 16 teams. So at least halfway. So the middle half of the 2030s, we will have 16 teams. It's doable. Obviously, the league's made it very, very clear that they will hold at 12 when we get to 12. But you can hold out until the end of the current CBA. We're going to the CBA 2031, get a new CBA in place, and then you go think, right, which is the next sport? That's what I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it would make sense. If you get the 12 teams going into 26, 27, you can then hold out until the CBA needs to get renegotiated 2031. And then after 2031, you can then start thinking, right, who are those next four? Yeah. So I can see it as an easy target before we get to, the halfway point of the 2030s. I think it can easily be done. I do believe it can be easily done. So, we'll see. Yeah. But I think, what's your preference? I think for me right now, I would say I would go with top 8. Yeah, I would go with top 8. That's my ideal preference. Because even if you just do the top 6, there's still quite a lot of good teams who would miss out. Like how this year we've seen, good teams, miss out. And the margins, when you look at the league standings, are all very slim. So I think if you do top 6, you still run that risk of, a really good team not making the World Cup playoffs, who would make the World Cup playoffs under a top 8 system. So I think the top 8 would be a lot more fairer, and you still would allow the league champions the right to choose who their first round opponent would be. Whereas if you do top 6, there's no point, because you've got play-ins to determine who gets through to the semis. You may as well then just reseed it. So the lower seed goes plays number 1, then the second, and then the high lower seed goes plays number 2. So there's a lot of not to pull that. I personally would just say just go top 8. Do top 8. Let the league championships between teams that finish in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So the lower half of the top 8 standing, and then you reseed everyone else, and then it just works fine. 3 rounds, so quarterfinals, semi-finals, and a World Cup finals. That would give you 3 rounds of best of 5. And if we have to go into the beginning of June, we go into the beginning of June. There's nothing mandatory that says you have to hold your draft in June. It's nothing mandatory. We could do it late June. We could even do it to begin first week of July. We could easily do it then. As long as the summer is spent with doing free agency, it's fine. Of course, these days, the AHL is basically last week of June with their draft. Yeah, I mean, of course, you two can speak from that from last year when obviously LA hosted last year's draft. This year's is Buffalo. Yeah, which at the time of it else, that caused a bit of a ruckus among the pack, didn't it? I think Warburg said, I can't remember which one it was. Warburg said, "How are we supposed to entertain ourselves in Buffalo?" Yeah, because obviously, because we found out with last year's draft, it basically felt like an eternity. And the stories that you two three sort of gave me from last year, because you three chose last year, half the pack chose to watch AHL draft and half the pack didn't. These two did because obviously it was being hosted in LA, and three sort of did because obviously the Islanders won the draft lottery. I chose not to watch the draft because I don't watch the draft because I've just been mostly players. I'm probably not going to see on Open roster anyway, so what's the point? And then Goof and Hatter, they also didn't choose to watch the draft either. But Hatter did keep a close eye on every time the Flyers made a pick. Now, every time the Flyers made a pick, Hatter went to go and check it. But me and Goof, when it came to the Bruins and Sharks, we was like, no, we'll just cut rather at the end of it all. Yeah, cause no point. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens about draft this year. Yep. Yeah. So I would do top 8. So that's what my preference would be. What about you two? I think I would prefer just to do the top 8. Yeah, it's a good top 8's a good system. And when you have a league where every day, every game is rivalry night, you don't have to worry about, you won't get a good matchup, because you will. Yeah, you will. I mean, we know speaking about it, we know their system is broken. Tampa Montreal should not be a first round matchup. I'm sorry. That should not be a first round matchup. That should be, and I've said this 3 times yesterday, do you agree with me? That should be a conference final. Do you agree with me? That should be a conference final, Tampa, Montreal. Yeah. That should be a conference final right there. I believe that's going to go to 7, by the way. I'm confident that's going to go to 7. It's currently tied. Yeah, I know. 3 6 million. So obviously I'm going to focus on the Wilds, and then obviously I will then go out. So, yeah. We're gone. We knew you two were going. You had no chance against Burnley. You had no chance against Burnley. So yeah, but you two are gone. Boston's in trouble. They're training to Buffalo for one of their series. Despite the fact Goof said he was convinced he could take on Buffalo, and then the Flyers not doing themselves favour. They're now going to Game 6 of their series. And of course, the Wild are also guaranteed to go to Game 6. And of course, also we need to wait until what happens at the end of this week with the Wild Spurs series to see will it affect our so far matchup with the Victoire. That's why you've not got Game 3 and 4 dates yet. Because obviously if the Wild somehow win the series, they would then go on to play Colorado. So yeah, anyway. So basically what I'm trying to say is you wouldn't have that worry of, oh well, if these two teams go against whatever, it's not going to be free to watch, because it will be free to watch, because every team has proven this league that they can beat anyone in this league. And that's what the beauty is of it. So you wouldn't have a problem. No, so I would say I'd go top 8. I think we would need to have the debate of, would you still need to let the league champion choose their opponent? Because I think there's an argument where you can, an argument where you don't. Might be for another time. Might be for another time. Yeah. But, no, I'd go top 8. I'd obviously go top 8. How would you feel about the top 4 getting protected so you can't be picked? I'd do that. Because we've been having a conversation this year about what would have happened if we got to choose. We always do have that conversation, just in case we somehow do get the right. And I think the conversation we had this year was the decision wasn't going to be an easy one now, because obviously our choices were between Montreal, Boston and Ottawa, depending on which of those 3 end up being 3rd and 4th. And I felt at the end of the day, we would have had no choice. If we had the right to pick, we would have had to pick Ottawa, because, you know, of those three, we had a very competitive regular season series, a very evenly matched regular season series. Yes, obviously we know what happened in the last year's finals, but I would have taken them over the other two. Yeah, especially how, you know, Boston's got Aaron Frankel and Montreal and Desbienne. It kind of felt, that's no disrespect to where it fits. Obviously, it's ranked MVP, the playoff MVP. She won that last year, but I think it'd be a more doable series, you know, compared to the situation we are in. Yeah. He's been basically just been reading me the riot act since we basically got the news about these SFR matchups, because I've been praising Montreal. But it's a smart move! It's a smart move! Oh my god, if you're watching right now, please give me the daggers. I'm getting the evils. It's a smart move! Okay, let's see you still say that come Water Cup finals. Let's see you still say that after the series. But it's a smart move. If you want to be the, as the old say goes, if you want to be the best, beat the best. And it means that Boston has to face Ottawa, which is a lot more tougher than they would have done probably go up against us. Because if Boston had been given us, they would have felt they could easily take us down, whereas with Ottawa, they can't confidently say that, can they? Nah. So there you go. It's a smart move. I don't like the move, but it's a smart. But what can I say? It's a smart move by the Big 12 to do. You know, and we'll see. Well, hopefully, I should say we'll see if it pays off. But of course, I don't want it to pay off now. Don't want it to pay off. But yeah, so I think I personally would just go top 8. I don't see the need to do top 6 and then you hand out bye. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the buys. I just feel if a team gets a bye, it's really a toss-up how all of them do. And I actually said that I have seen it in other sports where teams that get buys do then end up underperforming in that first round, and they basically get the receiving end of a shock upset. Yeah, so and also the idea to play in, it's like no, because how would you go about doing that? Especially when that would be in the thick of the Stanley Cup players as well, those teams that share with the AHL teams, which could go up next year depending on what happens. You know, no. I don't like the idea of that, but I could actually see the league doing it. I don't like the idea of it. Yeah, I don't like the idea of it. No, but honestly, I could see them doing it. I really could. Just no, the actual thought that was the thing. Oh, that was the shudder with fear. Yeah, I personally think just do top 8, let the top 4 get protected so they guarantee themselves home ice advantage, and then you take it from there. Yeah. So you do 3 rounds of the World Cup final, head in the World Cup playoffs, World Cup finals, as always, best of 5. Yeah. So quarterfinal, semi-final, World Cup finals. That's what we want to see. Yeah. And there's so many ideas you could think of, but those seem to be the 2 most likely. Yeah. And I think of those 2, we know what it should be. Yeah, we know it should be. Yeah, we do. Yeah. So, to finish off, shall I just tell the boys and girls what we want to see going forward? Yeah. Okay, right. So, going forward for the World Cup players, we would like to see the top 8, and the league champion gets to choose between the teams that finish in 5th place, 6th place, 7th place, and 8th place in the standings. Quarterfinals, best of 5. Semi-finals, best of 5. World Cup finals, best of 5. That is what we would like to see going forward. You've heard from us. Now it's over to you. What do you make of it? What do you think the league will do when it comes to playoffs going forward? Do let us know. But until next time, take care, guys. Don't get spoiled the breeze.